I'm Butch Stearns of the Pulse Network. The Customer Edge is a monthly program that is put on by SAP, sponsored by SAP, to help you give your customers the edge. And we are coming to you with a live edition from this event that SAP is a big part of called Customer Engagement World. So we have plenty of guests on the show, a lot of topics to dive into, so let's dive right into it now with two distinguished co-hosts and gentlemen here. Not sure how distinguished, but they are. Jamie Anderson from SAP and Volker Hildebrand. Gentlemen, how are you?
Terrific. Great, Butch. Really glad to be here.
Volker, great to see you again.
Good to see you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so now Jamie, first off, a little business. Congratulations on your promotion. You've been promoted to Senior VP Marketing of Customer Engagement and Commerce. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much, thank you. It was all down to you.
And I don't think so. What does that mean for SAP customers? What does it mean for you, for your promotion, and what does it mean?
Well, it gives us for me, it gives us an absolute laser focus on the most important things that are happening in the market today. We're seeing, the edges blurring between sales, between marketing, between service and e-commerce. And now that I look after each of those pieces, it means that we personally communicate more effectively, but even as a unit within SAP, the coming together of all those things is, it's a reaction to the change in the market.
Right.
It's a reaction and an acknowledgement that customers are seeing these worlds kind of colliding, and there's connective tissue between how a customer feels about a brand from a service perspective and whether they're likely to go and actually make another purchase, or whether they're going to become an advocate and recommend the brand. So all the technologies that play in that space, from mobile technology to social to CRM, the traditional CRM world, right through to omni-channel commerce, all of those things now come together under one banner. So I think it's really important.
And Volker, we've been here having conversations all day long. We've been taping interviews with SAP partners like Candy and Genband and Trax and Evention. I want to stop because I can't mention them all in one breath. You are Global VP of Customer Engagement Solutions. The title of this show is The Customer Journey, Many Journeys, Infinite Possibilities. Let me ask you a direct question. How does that affect the different lines of business, this empowered customer, these different journeys?
Well, I think the key here really is to look at it from a customer perspective and their experiences or their journey. And when we talk about the customer journey, it's really how they look at maybe identifying a need that they may have, becoming aware of potential buying opportunity, then doing their research. And as we all know, we do this as consumers as well. We go online, we check reviews, we ask our friends on Facebook, and we get all this information that becomes part of our buying decision. And then we go maybe online to find out more about a specific product, or we go into a store, and then we order. We can order online, we pick it up in the store, maybe we order with our mobile phone. I mean, if I look at my teenage daughter, she's doing almost everything on her phone today.
And charging it to your PayPal account.
And exactly.
The customer journey, Jamie, pick it up from there. I mean, there are many different journeys we're talking about here, aren't there?
There are, and for me, the customer journey is really at the heart of everything that's changed. I think Volker outlined it there, talking about ordering on mobile device, talked about, the sort of blended experience of, physical and the digital worlds. Let me reframe it a little bit, if you don't mind, and for the folks kind of watching in. I sometimes talk about the notion of the broken funnel, right? For years, businesses have operated on this kind of notion that customers kind of go through a linear process. They become aware of your brand, they become interested in your products, they make a decision, and then there's an action where they buy something, right? And that's been typified in this thing, called the sales and marketing funnel, and everybody learns it, and a lot of systems are built on that thing, right? But the reality is that, the funnel itself was created in 1898 by St. Elmo Lewis, right? It was created in the 19th century. today's buyers, right, today's customers don't follow a linear journey.
Right.
And they don't respond to the stages and the categories that we necessarily put them in through that journey. So for me, the customer journey has become something very unique to each individual customer based on convenience, right? Where they are, what device they have to hand. It's based on convenience, it's based on the channels available to them to interact with the brand. So if you plot the journey, it becomes incredibly non-linear, depending upon that customer's perspective. So one customer can have many journeys and many different outcomes through that cycle. So that notion of awareness, interest, decision, action, well, those stages are still relevant because you still want to generate awareness, you still want to generate interest, but there's other stages, there's use. Where's the stage when the customer's using your product or service? Where's advocacy now? Which is so important because advocacy helps on board and keep customers loyal. So I think we've got to look at it differently. We've got to apply like a 21st century paradigm. The funnel doesn't work for me.
That funnel's blown up.
It's gone, yeah.
No, the funnel's gone, and also what that means then from a vendor or a company perspective is that if you look at it, the traditional kind of funnel way and the CRM tools you used to have, these tools are no longer sufficient because you're not able to engage with your customers at every touch point in the moment when it really matters to your customer, and in a way that you're relevant to your customer with the content at the right time, at the right place, and the right channel or touch point. And the convenience is another important thing. Why is my daughter doing everything with her phone? Because it's so convenient.
Right.
But guess what? Companies are thinking about channels. They're thinking about store, online, phone. Well, for my daughter, it's just the phone, and she tweets, then she calls, then she searches for products. She may even make a purchase. She may chat.
And every one of these, to your point about the funnel being blown up, is a touch point or a potential touch point for a company.
Yeah,
or for your partners,
absolutely.
or your channel
and
partners.
You need to be able to engage seamlessly and in the way the customer wants.
And the other thing, right, so every time Volker speaks, he fills my mind with more things I want to talk about, which is great. Because you mentioned something there and it immediately kind of resonated with me. It was that notion of your daughter. Now, the mobile device is the most convenient for her. Right, and she carries it everywhere, and it's like my kids as well, they're crazy with the devices. Here's the thing, getting back to the customer experience, they measure the brand experience not through channels. They don't even know what a channel is. Right.
Exactly.
We in business have created this notion of channels because actually most businesses have adapted to technology change by building more channels. Like from when we moved to the internet, we built the internet store. Even actually before the internet, catalog companies.
That's right, yes.
Catalogs were almost like the first, I'm not going to say online, but they were like an offline version of the store.
Yep.
And you could phone up and get access to the same great products anyway, and then the internet came along, then call center and everything, and it just went from there. And businesses' response to that is to build channels, but then the thing they did wrong was started to think about channels as the way in which they need to construct their story, right? And to me, they view the world through these channels they created, which are artificial. To the consumer and to today's consumer, they don't see channels.
They don't exist.
They just want to push a button.
Right, it's a great point.
They want to push a button and they want service, they want consistency.
A quick reminder, everybody, you are watching The Customer Edge. The Customer Edge is a live monthly show put on by us, the Pulse Network, sponsored by SAP, but it's more than that. It's a community where you can find relevant content about customer experience, about all these things we're talking about. We're here coming to you live from the show floor of the Javits Center in New York City, bringing you this live edition of The Customer Edge. We have plenty of guests coming up. We're going to have Mary Wardley from IDC coming up. We have John Mansfield, formerly of Graybar, who's had a long-standing relationship with SAP. We're going to have Lawrence Dvorak from JD Events, who puts on this event. This event is a 20-year history that started with kiosks and talks about customer engagement. I'm excited about this show. We got a live audience here.
Oh,
this
is
fun,
right.
isn't
that's
it?
Great.
Can we have a round of applause from our live audience here? So we've got it all coming to you. We're going to take a break in just a second, but how about this point? You talk about the funnel being broken. You talk about your daughter using her phone. Talk about all these touch points. It seems to me, guys, I'd like a comment from you on this to set up the show, that all of these touch points, there are opportunities but challenges for every organization to take advantage of these touch points, to know when they're happening, to gather data, to do things. What are best of breed companies doing with customer engagement technology, with their strategy, with their thinking to take advantage of all of that? And do most companies know what's going on within their organization?
Well, I think ideally you have a single platform to bring all of this together, because that's a big problem that many companies have, both on the technology side as well as on the organizational side. They're structured in organizational silos. There's a service department, there's a sales department, there are marketing folks, and we were just talking earlier with Mary Worley about the fact that a lot of marketing people, they say, oh, the social media is great, let's start to tweet about our products and our promotions, and then all of a sudden customers tweet back and complain about things. And they say, oh, that's not us, that's the service department.
Yeah,
and then they say, hey, the service department, you guys need to take care of this, and they say, we didn't start that.
Can't afford to do that anymore.
So you really need to have that organizational alignment as well, besides the technology that brings it all together. And it needs to come all the way up from the top. That's what I'm seeing. If it's not coming from the CEO who buys into that vision of customer engagement, it's simply not going to happen.
That is an amazing point, right? And you talk about this kind of single platform, and just purely on a technology level for a second as well. And John Mansfield's coming up, and listen, if there's anybody who understands, putting all that stuff on a single platform and the ability to react in real time to customer need, the only way you can really do that is by having all that information in a single platform, because that's what it's become about. We've spoken about consistency. We've spoken about the convenience aspect, but the real-time aspect is so important. Volker mentioned social media, and the other thing about social media is it is immediate, right? And the ability to respond to a customer or a trend or something that unfolds in real time is so important. So, without doing your link, John Mansfield's coming up, and he's going to give us some great insights on that.
All right, you guys ready to roll your sleeves up and bring in some guests here?
I think so, yeah.
Jamie Anderson, Volker Hildebrand.